Hi guys, AzureAce here and welcome back to the Dragon Ball briefing, where today I've got a real big video and oh my god is it gonna be bad. I have a video today. We're gonna be covering the timeline problems present in Dragon Ball. Holy Jesus on a pogo stick, this is gonna be horrible. There's so much information to talk about right here, and just to talk about the problems that are present in Dragon Ball's timeline and Dragon Ball's timelines, should I say. There's more than one timeline in Dragon Ball. So without giving any more fluff, let's just get right into this. Oh my god. So first off, I think the most important thing we should get out of the way right now is what are the 6 major timelines in Dragon Ball. There is 6 major timelines in Dragon Ball. This is including all alternate timelines or main timelines. Everything is in this video right here. So first of all, we have the main timeline. This timeline is the timeline we are currently in right now, the one that is the main timeline from Dragon Ball that we've seen, from Dragon Ball Z that we've seen, and going into Super. It does not include GT. This is the timeline we're in. We're in Super right now. The next timeline is the Trunks timeline. This is the timeline that Future Trunks originally came from, you know, to come back to the past to tell the Z fighters about the threat of the androids. And then eventually we got to Super and Zeno destroyed this timeline. So this timeline technically no longer exists. The next timeline we have is the Cell timeline. This timeline is the timeline in which Cell kills Future Trunks and goes back to the past before the events of the Cell arc take place. The 4th timeline is the Unseen timeline. This is the timeline in which Cell timeline Trunks goes back to the past and helps destroy the android before Cell appears. It's basically the main timeline with a couple of differences here and there. I would guess that Future Trunks would then go back and some of the events that would be in the Cell timeline would take place. Next we have one of the most recent timelines, that is the Zamasu timeline. This is the timeline in which Zamasu manages to kill Gowasu and take his time ring, summon Super Shenron and wish to switch bodies with Goku, thus becoming Goku Black. The final and 6th timeline is the Trunks timeline 2. This is the timeline in which main timeline Whis goes into the future to tell future Beerus about Zamasu's wrongdoings, making future Beerus kill him before he could pull off any of the events of the Future Trunks arc. Future Trunks and Future Mai also head into this timeline, meaning there will be 2 versions of them both in this timeline. These are the 6 timelines that we currently have right now. I'm not gonna, divulge into the timelines and the details and how they intersect and sort of connect with each other, because later on I'm gonna actually talk about how 4 of these timelines connect to each other when we talk about the Toei official Future Trunks arc timeline that we got given quite a while back, near about the end of the Future Trunks arc. I'm going to be talking about the Trunks timeline, the main timeline, the Zamasu timeline, and the Trunks timeline too, and how they all intersect and connect with each other. The Unseen timeline and the Cell timeline are kind of irrelevant right now, but even despite having all these already confusing and intersecting timelines being established in the series, there's different pieces of information that completely throws the timelines of Dragon Ball into an uncontrolled frenzy of confusion and incongruent storytelling. And these are the Manga anime timeline, the Xenoverse timeline, the Dragon Ball minus timeline placement, the Toei official Future Trunks timeline, and the SSSS timeline. I'm going to be talking about all of them individually right now and how they kind of put the story and the timeline into a complete frenzy. So let's get right into them, starting with the manga and anime timeline. The manga / anime timeline is pretty self-explanatory. It is the timeline that the manga and anime set itself. The anime and manga didn't really give many specific ages and different timelines and years. It didn't really give as much of that. It's more so from other pieces of information like the Daizenshu and things like that we got sort of information like that from. So it doesn't really have anything more kind of to talk about than that. The next thing is the Xenoverse timeline. Now, it's kind of weird. This does sort of fall in the same category as the manga anime timeline, except with the Xenoverse timeline, it actually gives us ages for different specific events that take place. They actually gave us the Champa Arc timeline placement, the Resurrection F timeline placement, and the Battle of Gods timeline placement as well. So we've got them 3 little timeline placements now. Now we don't know if these are accurate, because you know it's Xenoverse, and Xenoverse is all about time travel and time manipulation and stuff like that, so I'm not really gonna go too much into Xenoverse as well. But the next one is a big one, the Dragon Ball Minus timeline placement. Now this one is an absolute doozy. This throws quite a lot about what we knew about the series into question. Now if you don't know what Dragon Ball Minus is, this is a small bonus story about the story of Bardock, Gine and Kakarot before Frieza destroys planet Vegeta, are released alongside the collected volumes of the Jackal, the Galactic Patrolman manga on April 4th, 2014. Now the reason why this is so bad is because it was always thought that the destruction of planet Vegeta took place in age 737. However, the Dragon Ball Minus timeline placement retcons that and puts it days prior to the events of Jackal the Galactic Patrolman in age 739. It's a bit of a clusterfuck, but bear with me because we haven't even got to the biggest timeline yet. Now the reason why this is so bad is because that would make Goku about maybe 3 or something by the time that planet Vegeta was destroyed. Plus it also just kind of feels weird because in Dragon Ball, Goku's a small naked child when he comes out of the Saiyan pod, but in Dragon Ball Minus, he's shown to be wearing Saiyan armor, and he looks a lot older than what he did when he first arrived on planet Earth. So it's kind of weird, but we're going to move on to the Toei official Future Trunks arc timeline. Oh my god, reading this out is going to be horrible, but bear with me. This timeline was produced by Toei for the Future Trunks arc. It recounts every single event that happened in the arc among the 4 timelines that were displayed in it, being the main timeline, the Future Trunks timeline, the Zamasu timeline, and the Future Trunks 2 timeline. I'll have the diagram up on screen as I read along because it's really hard to visualize what this timeline is actually saying without actually seeing the timeline in front of you, because there's a bunch of connecting lines and paths going in every direction, and you should really be seeing a diagram to kind of get what I'm trying to say. So before I get into this, Herms translated this back in the day, so as always big thanks to Herms, but let's just get right into the Toei timeline. So first off, I should mention there is one thing that is placed to give us a bit more of a kind of a help on how this timeline flows. So we have 3 time slip destinations. The blue arrow represents Goku and Future Trunks as well as Vegeta, Bulma and all the others timeline. The green arrow represents Goku Black's time travel, and the purple arrow represents the Kaioshin's time travel, so that would be Gowasu and Kaioshin when they time travel to the future. So let's get right into this. So of course, the history where Goku lives, timeline 3, the main timeline. Majin Buu revives, fights Goku, Goku fights Beerus, god of destruction, Pan is born, Frieza's army attacks Earth, the inter-universe match which is the Champa arc. And then of course we have Future Trunks goes to the present and fights alongside Goku and Co. back in the future. He brings peace by defeating the androids and Cell. That was in Future Trunks' timeline. Then in the Zamasu timeline, Zamasu carries out his plan to kill Gowasu, steals the time ring and Potara, then travels 1 year into the future. Zamasu uses the Super Dragon Balls to switch bodies with Goku, becoming Goku Black. He kills Goku, uses time ring to move to Future Trunks' timeline. That then moves us all the way back up to Future Trunks' timeline, where Future Trunks works with Kaioshin to defeat Babidi and Co, preventing Majin Buu's arrival. Then, after Goku Black arrives, Goku Black kills Gowasu, teams up with Zamasu. Future Zamasu uses the Super Dragon Balls to become immortal, the Super Dragon Balls are destroyed, Zamasu and Black kill the Kaioshins in every universe and begin their Zero Mortal plan. Goku Black destroys mortals on numerous planets. Goku Black attacks Earth, with humanity's armies destroyed, Mai leads the resistance. Then, we have a Goku and Co time travel, about 1 year since Black's arrival, Future Trunks takes the timeline to the present. Then, that brings us to Future Trunks comes to the present in search for help. Then we get back in Future Trunks' timeline, Black pursues Trunks to the world of the present. This is where episode 51 would happen. Goku Black attacks from the future, clashes with Goku. Goku Black blows up the time machine, gets pulled back by time-space distortions back to the world of the future. Then we get him back in the Future Trunks timeline. Black is pulled back to the future world by the time distortions. Then we go back to the main timeline. Bulma finds the time machine still used, begins repairing it. Beerus, Whis and Goku head to Universe 10, meet Zamasu, Goku and Zamasu spar. Gowasu and Zamasu use the time rings to travel to planet Babari 1000 years hence. Zamasu's mistrust of mortals grows. Goku heads to Zeno's palace with Whis and Kaioshin. Goku promises to be friends with Zeno. Then we have another Goku and Co time travel. Goku, Vegeta and Future Trunks go to the future using repaired time machine. We go back to the Future Trunks timeline. Goku, Vegeta, Trunks arrive in the future world. Black battles Goku and Co, transforms into Super Saiyan Rose, Zamasu appears, Goku and Co retreat back to the present. Then we go back to the main timeline. Goku and Co return from the future, heal with Senzu. Zamasu learns about the Super Dragon Balls on GodTube. Zamasu asks Zuno in Universe 7 about the Super Dragon Balls and Goku. Beerus, Whis and Goku prove Zamasu will murder Gowasu. Beerus destroys Zamasu. Big massive shift in the timeline right here. We have more time travel. Goku, Vegeta, Future Trunks and Bulma head to the future to see if it has been changed. Goku, Vegeta, Trunks and Bulma arrive in the future which hasn't been changed. They face off with Zamasu and Black again. Trunks holds off Black and Zamasu. Goku and Co return to the present. We go back to the main timeline. Goku, Vegeta and Bulma return from the future, heal their wounds. Goku learns Mafuba. He, Vegeta and Bulma return to the future where Trunks awaits. We go back to the Future Trunks timeline. Goku, Vegeta and Bulma arrive in the future. Third battle against Zamasu and Black begins. Go back to the main timeline. Learning of Zamasu's evil, Gowasu uses the time ring to travel to the future with Shin. We go back to the Future Trunks timeline. Gowasu and Shin arrive in the future. Trunks fires the Mafuba, but it fails. Zamasu and Black merge via the Potara, outclassing Goku and Co. Goku and Vegeta merge via the Potara and transform into Super Saiyan Blue Vegito, who overwhelms Zamasu. Future Trunks slices merge Zamasu in two with a sword of light. Zamasu's will runs out of control and begins engulfing the universe. Goku calls Future Zeno, who destroys Zamasu along with the entire future universe. Goku and Co return to their original era. We go back to the main timeline. Goku and Co return. Goku and Future Trunks then immediately go back to the future. We go back to Future Trunks' timeline for the final time. Goku and Future Trunks return and bring Zeno with them back to the present. We go back to the main timeline. Goku returns with Future Zeno, who he introduces to present Zeno. Future Trunks and Mai go to the future. We go back to the brand new Future Trunks timeline 2. Future Trunks and Mai return to the future. Before Zamasu attacks, Whis asks Beerus to seal Zamasu away. And that is the final event of the Future Trunks toy timeline. I know guys, it's an absolute clusterfuck. I've been talking about that for a while, but you can kind of get that was a very messed up timeline. There was timeline pieces going everywhere, but let's move on to our final timeline. So the final timeline that we have is one of the most infamous. It's one of the ones that shakes the timeline up the most. It is the SSSS timeline. This was meant to be like a condensed version of the timeline that was included with Chosenchu 4, except it starts to mention all the stuff that we see in Super. However, do bear in mind this only came out at the start of the Champa arc, so it has quite a lot of stuff missing from the Champa arc, the Future Trunks arc, and the Universe Survival arc, and does not, unlike the Chosenchu 4 timeline, have any references to GT at all. So let's move into the timeline and we'll talk about it as we go along. The timeline starts off with a problem right up the bat. Approximately 5 million years ago, the wizard Bibidi creates Majin Buu. Over the next few years, hundreds of planets are destroyed by Buu. The East Kaioshin succeeds in defeating Bibidi when Bibidi seals Buu away. Now this is a problem because Toriyama said himself that Buu existed since the beginning of time. Well, he retconned it by saying that. So that's a mistake right up. Another mistake, here we go. Age 737. Kakarot is born, Frieza wages war against the Saiyans. Although Kakarot's father Bardock holds out against Frieza until the end, he is thrown into the world of the past by the explosion of Planet Vegeta. So here, we're not just going to mention the age 737 when minus, retconned it by saying age 739. We're going to mention the fact that they're mentioning episode of Bardock stuff. Remember, Toriyama had little to no involvement with episode of Bardock. All he did was design Lord Chilled, which is the main antagonist of that special. This is really stupid. I don't know why they're including this in here, but we'll move on. The same year, Jacko the Galactic Patrolman arrives on Earth, sent to invade Earth. Kakarot is adopted by the old man Son Gohan and named Son Goku. Around age 739, the God of Destruction Beerus goes to sleep. So that does include a bit of the Dragon Ball Super stuff, although that should be around the time when Goku's born too. Now we move into the Dragon Ball stuff. There's not much too bad here. There's a couple of things here and there, but we'll get to them. Age 749, Goku and Bulma meet and set out in search of the Dragon Balls. The Dragon Balls are all assembled and Shenron appears. Goku transforms into an Ozaru where he looks at the full moon and destroys Pilaf's castle. Goku and Kuririn become Kame Sennin's pupils, so they become pupils of Master Roshi. Nothing wrong there. Age 750, the 21st Tenkaichi Budokai is held, Jackie Chun is champion, Goku is runner-up. Goku sets out in his search for the Dragon Balls once again. During his journey, he and the Red Ribbon Army struggle for control of the Dragon Balls. After training atop Karin Tower, Goku defeats Tao Pai Pai and wipes out Red Ribbon Army HQ. At Uranai Baba's palace, Goku reunites with his dead adopted grandfather, Son Gohan. Then we move on to the Demon King Piccolo arc. Age 753, the 22nd Tenkaichi Budokai is held, Ten Shinhan is champion, Goku is runner-up. After the tournament wraps up, Kuririn is killed by the Demon Clan. The Great Demon King Piccolo appears. Piccolo uses the Dragon Balls to regain his youth. Goku powers up by drinking the Super God water at Karin Tower and defeats the Great Demon King Piccolo. Demon Jr. is born, which is Piccolo Jr., the Piccolo we know now. Age 756, the 23rd Tenkaichi Budokai is held. During their tournament match, 18-year-old Goku gets engaged to his opponent Chi-Chi. Goku is crowned tournament champion for the first time. Demon Jr. is runner-up. Goku and Chi-Chi hold a marriage ceremony at Frypan Tower. When Ox King's castle catches fire, the two of them set out in search of the Bancho fan to put out the flames. Then we start to move into the Dragon Ball Z stuff. Age 761, the beginning of the Saiyan arc, or the Saiyan arc. Raditz invades Earth. Although he's defeated, Goku is killed too. The warriors begin their training to prepare for the Saiyans who will reach Earth in 1 year. Age 762. Vegeta and Nappa arrive on Earth. Gohan, Kuririn, Piccolo and the others battle them. Goku returns to Earth and defeats Vegeta. We move into the Frieza arc. Age 762. The Namekian language translation operation is completed. Gohan, Kuririn and Bulma set off for planet Namek. Goku's injuries are healed and he also heads for Namek using a spaceship equipped with a 100G device. On planet Namek, Frieza, Vegeta and Kuririn and Co struggle for control of the Dragon Balls. Goku arrives in Namek and wipes out the Ginyu Force. Piccolo is resurrected and reaches Namek. He merges with Nail and battles Frieza. Frieza transforms into his final form. Goku's injuries are healed, he begins fighting Frieza. When Kuririn is killed, Goku transforms into a Super Saiyan. Though he defeats Frieza, he is caught up in the explosion of planet Namek. Now this next thing is something very weird. Age 763, planet Makio approaches Earth for the first time in 5,000 years. The revived Garlic Jr. battles Gohan and the others. This is anime only stuff. Why is it here? I don't know, but this should not be in here. This was never mentioned in the original manga. This should not be in here. We move into the Android and Cell arc. Age 764. Goku returns to Earth. Trunks comes from the future and defeats Frieza and his father. We get some more anime only stuff. Age 764 to 767. Vegeta begins training in the gravity chamber in order to become a Super Saiyan. Later he begins falling for Bulma. Goku and Piccolo go to driver school to get their air car licenses. Age 767, the androids appear. Cell appears at noon that same day. During the battle with the androids, Goku collapses from a contagious disease. Goku recovers from his contagious disease thanks to the medicine that future Trunks brought back from the future. Vegeta, Trunks and Co train in the Room of Spirit and Time of the Hyperbolic Time Chamber. Cell absorbs numbers 17 and 18, evolving into his perfect form. Cell announces the opening of the Cell Games to the entire world. 10 days later, the Cell Games begin. Goku dies, stopping Cell's self-destruction. Gohan defeats the revived Cell. Trunks returns to the future. Then we have even more filler right here. This is the Other World Tournament. Goku travels to the Grand Kaio's planet and meets the Grand Kaio. A Strongest in the Afterlife martial arts tournament is held in commemoration of the North Kaio's death, with Goku and Paikuhan or Paikon clashing in the final round. That stuff is anime only yet again. Now we get into the Majin Buu arc, age 774. Gohan enrolls in Orange Star High School, he meets Videl, the Great Saiyaman is born, the 25th Tenkai Shibbudokai is held, Goku returns to the living world for one day. Trunks is the champion of the Tenkai Shibbudokai Junior Division. The finals for the adult division comes down to a three-way struggle between Mr. Satan, number 18 and Mighty Mask. Satan is champion. Goku and the others go with Kaioshin into Babadi's spaceship in order to stop Majin Buu's resurrection. When Vegeta falls under Babadi's spell, his battle with Goku results in the resurrection of Majin Buu. Vegeta puts his life on the line to try and defeat Majin Buu, but he proves no match and dies. Goku transforms into Super Saiyan 3 and battles Buu. The Elder Kaioshin is unsealed from the Z-Sword. He begins a ceremony to raise up Gohan's power. The fusion is successful, Gotenks is born. When Buu splits into good and evil, the good Buu is absorbed by the evil one and a new Majin is born. Gotenks becomes a Super Saiyan 3, Gohan's power up is complete. Buu powers up, absorbing Piccolo and Gotenks. Goku and Vegeta use the Potara to merge together. Vegeta is born. He rescues Gohan and the others from out of Buu's body. Goku obliterates Buu using a Super Genki Dama collected from all the energy of all humanity. So now we finally get into the super stuff. Gods of the Universe arc, aka the Battle of Gods arc. Age 778. Bulma holds a grand birthday party for herself. The god of destruction Beerus awakens. Beerus and Whis head to Earth in search of the Super Saiyan God and attend the party. They eat sushi, pudding, etc. Trunks falls in love with Pilaf's flunky Mai. When Beerus slaps Bulma, Vegeta gets so angry that he temporarily becomes stronger than Goku. With 5 Saiyans assembled, Goku becomes a Super Saiyan God. Now obviously it doesn't mention that Beerus beat Goku. Then, age 778, this is actually the Resurrection F arc. Frieza is resurrected and invades Earth. The warriors of Earth face off against him again. So it doesn't obviously mention all of the info. Remember, this was very early on in the Champa arc. But then we have the Peaceful World arc, aka the End of Z, age 784. The 28th Tenkai Shibbudokai is held. Goku takes Oob with him and sets out on a journey. And that's the end of the SSSS timeline. So as you can see, there are many problems with the timelines in Dragon Ball, whether it be because there's too many timelines, there's too many contradictory sources, or the information is just straight up retconned by Toriyama. But this video has gone on a little too long, I would argue, so if you have, lasted this long in the video, I do humbly thank you for your support. It means very much a lot to me, and we're at 24 minutes, so it's time to wrap up this video. So if you guys liked this video, please leave a like and a comment in the comment section below. Do you think that the Dragon Ball timeline is as messed up as I feel it is? And what do you think they could do to fix the timeline, or at least help it in some way? Share this amongst your friends. I've been AzureAce, and thank you for coming to the video.
You have arrived. I'm here to tell you that if you don't subscribe to AzureAce for Dragon Ball, Kingdom Hearts, and Pokemon TCG content, you will wander forever in the darkness of your heart.